What's up, guys? Welcome to the Shacknews Twitch channel. Today is March the 28th, 2022. We're with Monday, another new episode of the wide world of electronic sports. We got our host here, Bryan Lefler, Rodney Conyers Jr. I'll head it off to you guys. Tell us what's going on in the world of esports and possibly talk about our special guest here.
Yo, Chris, thank you so much for the intro, as always. Yes, it is another episode of Wide World of Electronic Sports, and episode, I think, 125 now. And it's a big one today. We have another excellent interview, but first, of course, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Rodney Conyers Jr. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing really well. It's always cool when we get to pick some new people's brains, so I'm excited to jump into it.
Absolutely. And we would be joined by Phil Visu, the phenomenal EE, but he is detained in another event, of course, same as last week, but I'm sure he'll be jumping in as soon as he's available. But let's get right into it. Without further ado, Roddy, let's have you introduce the guest since you were the one who was able to set it up, and I know you're so excited to kick off the show. So
yeah.
please take it away.
Yo, anything 100 Thieves related, you can go ahead and sign me up. Let me just get that out the way right now. Might be a bit of a fanboy, but whatever. Yeah, you know that. That's right. But introducing to the show, we have Jasmine Kitterman of 100 Thieves. Jasmine, talk to me. How you feeling today on this beautiful Monday?
Oh, I'm great. 100 Thieves just got done with a bunch of big projects. We're getting ready for a bunch of new big projects, and I'm here talking to y'all, having a good day.
Yes, so excited to hear that, yo. So before we even get into 100 Thieves, I feel like, your background in not just esports, but in gaming had to have start long before any of that. So let's talk about your earliest roots in gaming. What are some of your fondest memories early on? Like what got you into the gaming space?
Oh, goodness. I think it was a little separate. I've always been super into gaming personally, and my foray into the space career-wise didn't start until about 4 years ago. I actually I think, unlocked a memory a couple weeks ago of like one of my very, very, very first games. I think it was on the Sega. That my mom had gotten us. It was a game that came out before I was even born, but I have very vivid memories of playing like a Sesame Street game and counting with Dracula and kind of like integrating learning with gaming is where I think I started with gaming. But my most vivid memories of gaming started with Pokemon. I played on the Game Boy Color and then evolved into the Game Boy DS. I think that's really where I started sinking my time into gaming and realizing that like it's something that I loved so much and wanted to contribute a lot of my time and energy to because it was something that I just really enjoy. And then I think the world of gaming really opened to me with Kingdom Hearts. I think it was just such a fun culture blend of like things that people were familiar with in the mainstream with Disney, as well as like these more fantastical storylines and more like Final Fantasy-esque stories, which I've always been just like really interested in. So I just loved seeing that blend. And after that, we got our PS2, our first like console with our controllers, and after that, I was hooked. So that's kind of I think where my passion for gaming came in, and in my career, it started out. Let's see, it's been, yeah, I think about 4 years. I started my career in tech startups. So I'd been working in software as a service and doing marketing for various startup companies. So very used to doing kind of multiple hats, boots on the ground work, and shifting into a bunch of different priority marketing areas very, very early in my career. Um, and I think my foray into the gaming space just happened by chance. But I'll throw it back to you. I saw there was a little interest in Kingdom Hearts there. If you wanted to speak on any kind of like passion.
So hold on really quick because you talked about Pokemon. We do a Pokemon show here every so many Wednesdays and every other so many Saturdays as well. But Pokemon, who's your go-to starter? And yes, I'm judging. Who's the go-to starter?
Um, I think I'm usually a water starter type person. I love me some Mudkip, not gonna lie.
Okay, I like Mudkip too. That's right. Yeah, because when Mudkip evolves, he is like water and ground, which is just like a really weird combination of shit. I'm with you. So you're a Gen 3 person. I'm a Gen 3 person too.
Okay, and what's your starter?
Well, so originally when I got Ruby version, I did Trico. But then I did Emerald, and I was like, okay, there's more Pokemon here. They're opening it up to Johto and stuff like that. So I need a dual type. So I ended up doing Mudkip because I think Swampert was water and ground or some weird shit like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm always more times than not going to go water type.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But a man after my own heart. I definitely did not do Emerald or Ruby. I was a Sapphire version player, but
Mm.
very well rounded here.
That's right. That's right. Gen 3 stuff. People just sleep on Gen 3. But anyway, though, not to jump down the Pokemon rabbit hole. Wow. Kingdom Hearts, everybody says they love the game, and I get so many different types of reasons, but yours was the first time I've ever heard it's just the crossover that really kind of hooked you. Like and I guess does this kind of mirror almost your work at 100 Thieves? I mean, 100 Thieves is not just competitive gaming; they're like lifestyle and music and so many other things. I mean, is that the type of stuff you look for when you play games?
Yeah, I think that's a very complex question, but I think people definitely like Kingdom Hearts for different reasons.
Mhm.
And people dislike Kingdom Hearts. I think one of the reasons that, like, one of the main pain points there is like the story gets very convoluted. There's so many spin-offs that if you're not paying attention, like the storyline can just go right over your head.
Mhm.
And so I think one of my favorite parts as somebody who doesn't always have time to play all of the games is yeah, just that magic that's put into regular everyday life. Like we all grew up with like Mickey Mouse and like Donald Duck and Goofy, but like seeing them as heroes, seeing them doing magic and like all of the like things that they did that I could never even like imagine like being able to follow them around and doing those kinds of things really yeah is I think a very exciting foundation
Mhm.
to play a game in. And I think yes, that is definitely what kind of like lights me on fire working with 100 Thieves too, is just knowing like there is the blueprint for what lifestyle is, there's the blueprint for what esports is, and so taking that to the next step, how are we integrating those two worlds and making that magic for everybody to like enjoy in a different way? Very exciting.
Yo, beautiful to hear as always. So let's rewind once more. Obviously you're a young person. You're playing video games at a very young age. I mean, was there a turning point or a tipping point where you told yourself, like, I don't know how I gotta do it, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I think gaming is where I want to be at, at least for the first part of my adult years. I don't know like what your long-term goals are, but like was there a tipping point or turning point for you in that?
Yeah, there actually wasn't. Like I said, I kind of I was following more in my career, I was following more my passion for writing and communicating and
Mhm.
really speaking to people in a mass audience in a way that could have like an effect on how people felt, an effect on like what they did and how they acted. Is really what I was like kind of working on in my career and trying to hone my craft in marketing and communications. And I think, the universe just sent me my ideal career and how I got into gaming. I was actually looking for a new position, trying to kind of just level up and hopefully find something a little more tangible, something that I was more passionate about. When I worked for tech, it was either like very, very tech, like you don't even want to talk about it, or I was like in kind of like the food space, which that was fun.
Mhm.
That was fun. But it wasn't like it didn't light me on fire like gaming did. And so I actually had a friend that was recruiting for a position at the same time that I brought up that I was looking for a new position. And that position was with the Atlanta FaZe and Atlanta Reign esports teams. They put my name in and I secured the job after a few rounds of interviews and worked with them for just over a year. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing, I think, serendipitous happenstance, I think, getting into the industry. And I know everybody has like different routes. I think that's why there is no common advice of like how to start working in gaming is because it's just uh, being ready for the moment when everything changes. And I think working in startup and like fostering my work with marketing, communications, and just upgrading my skill set allowed me to be ready to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, anytime I give a person advice on like on how to further themselves in gaming or esports, whatever sort of avenue you want to get into, I always tell people just be there when lightning strikes. And I feel like in esports, a lot of times it's really hard to gauge what's happening and where it's happening because if I go to DreamHack, I could be going for fighting games, but they do a big Halo thing there. But fighting games isn't really so big, but I also, want to try my hand at Halo. And just the next week there's an LCS thing happening, and then there's so many things happening all the time, and it's so hard to read the terrain. And when I was actually on your website, I might have peeked around on your site a little bit, you know what I'm saying, just
Yeah,
to see what was
good.
going on. And I seen, you've spoken on a lot of panels, you've hosted a couple of panels. I mean, you have a very, very well-rounded background, and not just what you do now in esports, but really almost like on a kind of like what we do. I mean, it almost feels like you have a personality type of position. I mean, is that am I off the mark with that?
Well, thank you, first of all. I appreciate that. I don't know. I think in my first few years working in gaming and esports
Mhm.
was still very startup-esque, very startup style. And I think I just had to jump feet first into a lot of different things, regardless of how, like, quote unquote, ready I was.
Mhm.
And I was able to kind of find my strength and fail fast and learn fast, in a lot of experiences where there just wasn't anybody else to do it. And so I was kind of just in the position where I had to step up and do it. And I am very, very grateful to have learned that way and to have been in positions that have given me so many different opportunities to step up in those ways. I think when I graduated from college, I graduated with a degree in journalism and mass communications. And a very common route in that degree would be to either be a journalist or to join like a PR firm and work at a firm or an agency.
Mhm.
And I just knew that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to work at like a large kind of like box and just have to do the same thing over and over and over. I wanted to have opportunities where I could step and out and grow and just be brave. That's definitely something working with the Atlanta Phase and Atlanta Rain that I was able to do is just be brave. And I think I was rewarded just by, yeah, I think learning fast, failing fast. And now I am where I'm at, and I have all of those lessons and stored experience under my belt. And I feel like I'm better than I would be if I had taken kind of like an agency route.
It's amazing. You use learning and losing a lot, and I like that because a lot of times people don't quite know how interchangeable they are. Obviously every loss could technically be a learning lesson. I mean, which they should be. And in your case, it seems like there were quite a few learning lessons for you. What would you say would be one of the biggest ones? Because I have one that I always tell, but mine doesn't. It's a personalized. It's not quite as cool. But like, what's yours? Like, what's your biggest learning lesson in being an
Well,
esports?
how you can't leave me out. Share yours.
So all right. So Alexander Jabali, the guy who hosts CEO, and it's like 2016 or 17, I can't remember, but DreamHack Austin is now opening up the door for Smash 4. They had only ever did Melee, they had only ever did 64, but they're finally doing Smash 4. And I was working like three jobs. I was teaching. I was also a nanny at the time. I was also just working like side jobs on Craigslist, a bunch of loose stuff, a bunch of part time stuff, so I can be at events. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want anything full time that would stop me. So I messaged Jabay. Like I finally stomach up the courage to message this dude because this dude is like 40,000 followers on Twitter. Verified. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy. He's an emote. You know what I'm saying? He's just the man. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna message him about DreamHack. I know I have to because that same month he was doing CEO Dreamland, which was by far the more popular of the two. It's a more Smash centric event, better numbers, better setup. DreamHack is more like traditional esports. I think they did one in Atlanta too. Um, and I sent them a DM and I was just like, hey man, I was wondering if I can come to DreamHack Austin if you have me. And I shit you not, he sent this message back so fast. It almost felt like when you go on vacation, you have like an email that sends out to people like, "Hey, Jasmine's not here. I'm on vacation, but I'll get back." He sent me back like two paragraphs, like frame one, and was like, I don't got any money to house you. I didn't get a big budget to pay you much, blah blah blah. But if you want to come and you're good enough, pull up on me and we'll see what's up." So I messaged all my boys. I was like, "Yo, you gotta vouch, 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 vouch." And then I saved up all this money because by the time he told me it was cool to come, my flight was already like $600 because I'm flying from little old Nebraska to Texas, so it's already expensive. And I get there, and I try my best. I have a sinus infection too, mind you. Like the weather in Texas was just crazy. I have a sinus infection. I'm trying my best on commentary, and I'm like going home, like feeling good that I did it, but I also feel a little defeated because I spent a bunch of money to be here and I got to go back to work on Monday and blah blah blah. He takes me off to the side. He says, "Hey, Rod, they didn't give me a big budget this year for this first one, but I can give you like X amount of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming through. I know it doesn't cover much, but we'll talk about the future." And I was just like, I had like a fucking Will, because we were talking about Will Smith earlier. So I had like a
Yeah.
Will Smith Pursuit of Happiness moment where I'm out in the street clapping and crying like, I did it, but I had to be cool. I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's cool, man. Yeah, I see you at the next one. Don't even sweat it, you know. But deep down, you know, I'm having like a moment. But yeah, that's the one I always tell. What about yours?
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. It's like a grind until you hit it and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
just like you said, yeah, pursuit of happiness.
You know,
Yeah, I'd say there's two, I think, sections working in esports that I get into a lot that I think is like you can get burned really fast, and right
yes.
there is the learning lesson. And so yeah, I think I can speak a little bit to social media. I did a lot of social media management working with the Atlanta Reign and Atlanta FaZe, which is just it's on an international stage, right? People are consuming your posts from all over the world of all ages, usually younger even. So you gotta even keep that in mind as to what type of vitriol you could receive due to that. But I think when I first started at my job, I actually hadn't even played Overwatch to begin with, and we jumped in and started covering the matches. And I learned the game pretty fast, right? Once you sit down and start playing the game, you learn the mechanics and kind of understand it a little better pretty fast. But understanding the community, understanding the nuance of how all the teams interact, that's something that you can miss if you just dive right in. And so I definitely got burned in doing some of the like more amateur things, like the amateur team coverage that we had to do. So a lot of that, like I said, nuance is just it's hard to uncover unless you're really doing your research. And so like I think we posted like a graphic that used somebody's logo the wrong way and got burned like instantly, but they had like just changed it the year before and like or like the month before, and there's no way that I could have known that. Like I'm brand new to the team, just all that stuff. And I think that sure that's a learning lesson. That's like it sucks to do that, but like having that on a world stage where like hundreds of thousands of strangers are seeing that, like that's getting burned and that's learning fast. Like that's not a mistake that I would ever use in the future. Like if I have any question of, is this graphic right? Like, has anything changed? Like, that's something I'm going to triple check before I ever even like start to think about making a post in the future. But aside from social, one of the I think harder things to learn is how to interact with talent and creators in the esports space. I think mainstream talent like actors and musicians and stuff like that, it's like a behind the scenes business. Like nobody knows how people are like talking to Ariana Grande, or like how like what does like Ashton Kutcher's agent say when he calls them up, like what are they literally saying so that they're not putting these people off. Like how do they expect to be treated? There's no master class on that. You can't go on the internet and research like what are these people expecting of me. I think that's an industry standard that has yet to be carved out. And so I've definitely like made my own social faux pas and reaching out to talent and communicating expectations. But I've also been on the other end of it where I have learned enough that I can like stand up and say like, here I'm actually offering you like above what's expected, or like here's all of the talking points that you might need. And then instead of like feeling like shit that like, oh my God, like I didn't provide everything that you need, right? Like, which I have learned. Now at this point, I can just provide everything that you do need, and that feels good. It feels good to be able to talk to talent, for talent to say like, thank you so much. Like this isn't what I was expecting. It's more than what I was expecting. So knowing what is like worst case scenario really helps you build towards what is best case scenario.
That's right. And speaking of going above and beyond, because I can tell, like, I was on your site and I was on your Twitter. I'm like, okay, Jasmine is like not a background person depressing a lot of buttons. Like she's, calling some shots, and she's also out in the field with you too, which is very hard to come by because a lot of the people who call the shots in esports aren't the same people who get out in the trenches with you, but you do a lot of both. And just being a woman in the esports space, I mean, what is your time been like in the community and also working with 100 Thieves?
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, we had our Attack on Titan 100 Thieves pop-up experience
Mhm.
2 weeks ago now, where we had a huge Titan put up on the 100 Thieves compound. It stood at, I think, 40 feet tall. And so like if we had built out the body of it and it like would have stood up, it would have been true to size for the actual like Attack on Titan. Um, and then we invited all of the fans in to get first looks at all of the product for the merch collection that we dropped along with Attack on Titan, and buy the pieces, preview some stuff, reach into the vault and get some of our older pieces of apparel. It was a great experience and our first pop-up shop that we have hosted in over 2 years due to the pandemic. And we had fans lining up over 24 hours in advance to come into the pop-up shop. They were there overnight, so we provided them with some swag. We like bought them coffee. We hung out with them, of course, but like seeing that kind of passion is so gratifying. I think that is my favorite part of the job. I went home that night, and when I came back, the line was all the way down the block, and I'm not gonna lie, I got emotional as I pulled up, like because we didn't like necessarily do anything special like for the marketing of it. Like we said, we have a pop-up shop, like here's the opportunity. You can see the apparel first and you can buy it first and you can see the vaulted apparel. Come see some creators, but like we were out here like paying for ads or like making a whole like bespoke website for it, or like we weren't even like, yeah, none of that. And so pulling up and just seeing like how many fans were there, just like so excited to engage with us, was so gratifying. And that's something that's like followed me throughout my entire career. I think I work really hard actually to like kind of curate my space. And so like people that follow me on Twitter are like, uh, I just want to make sure that those are good people, that I want to engage with the people that are following me, like the people who are commenting on my posts. Like I don't want to open them up to like toxicity and like trolls and that kind of stuff. And so um, I do definitely see and I acknowledge, and I support against toxicity in the industry, especially towards women. But it's honestly like I just have a hard line there. Like if somebody's going to be harassing me, then it's a block. Like I'm not going to be like talking to you. If somebody's going to harass me while I'm on the game, like I'm just going to leave the game. Like I'm not going to sit here and feel bad about myself. I'd rather like get locked out of the game for the next 3 decades than sit here and listen to somebody like trash talk me because of my gender. And so as far as like my lived experience, I don't experience a lot of toxicity because I very pointedly avoid letting those types of people into my space. But I think anecdotally, yeah, working with the fans is so gratifying. The communities that come to support esports teams are insane, honestly. Like I don't think that there are not very many fan bases that go as hard as as esports teams fan bases do. Like I know like K-pop or like Beyonce fans, like sometimes people will be like,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll come for you. And I think that like esports is getting to that level where like there's so much love and support and dedication behind these esports teams that like, yeah, we're about to start some riots. And I remember anecdotally one time at DreamHack Atlanta, one of our players was doing like a meet and greet, and we had like I don't know, he was probably like 13 years, approach the player to like meet him, and he was just visibly shaking, and like when he like met him, he like shook his hand, but like kind of just barely, but like he was almost in tears, and I was almost in tears, right? Like it's incredible to see like just what an effect like gaming and competitive gaming and like making people who are good at games into stars, and what type of effect that can have on just like the quote unquote normal people. It gives people that feel very siloed in experiencing these types of like storylines. it gives them a chance to look outside and see that there's like something more for them.
Oh, I used to be a teacher, so like when I hear like students when I come back from an event, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Rodney, we seen you with this one thing," or like, we seen this and we seen that. I'm just like,
That
you
part.
did, but take out your textbook though. We'll talk about it later. No,
Yes.
all jokes aside, I love that. The great thing about gaming is that it's a space that's still growing into what we don't know. Obviously, hopefully something not toxic. Everything has unfortunately some levels of toxicity, but the gaming space is pretty good at zeroing in on it and then eliminating it. And since we're growing, into bigger horizons, whether it be late night with Jimmy Kimmel or the crypto space. I mean, it's weaving its way into more. We have to make sure that when people finally show up and they learn what esports is, that they learn about it the safe way. And if it feels like you're doing a really job at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think just curating those communities and making sure that like once they do land here, that it's like a very soft cushion full of like very like engaging and comforting and nice people. That's the main goal here.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about the future. You've been in esports a while. You've been doing your thing. I mean, I seen there was even some stuff with Access Replay. I seen
Mhm.
that back in the day as well too. The stuff you did with the Atlanta Phase. Now here we are at 100 Thieves. I mean, I don't want to obviously speak too far into the future, but what are some of your like long term goals? I mean, you're so good at branding and marketing right now, but is there an end goal for you?
End goal, I think when people ask this question, I think a lot of people when I hear like, "Oh, I want to be like the senior director of this and that at this company,"
Mhm.
I think I have like more abstract, I guess,
Okay.
goals in gaming and esports. I definitely don't feel like I'm going to like retire or mature out of the space.
Mhm.
This is an industry that I definitely want to stay in and grow and develop. I think in the future what I want for myself is, like I said from the very beginning, I really want to continue honing my craft in a way that I can create messages that really impact people and make them feel. I think it's really incredible, kind of like what storytelling and what like simple words can do to make people feel differently and make them act differently and think differently on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
So yeah, being in communications, being in marketing, like definitely like ticks those boxes for me. And working in gaming and esports specifically, like that's an international audience. And so there's just so much opportunity to grow communities, for them to experience different storylines together, and impact people in different ways. So I think I'm right on track for that. And I honestly don't have any goals outside of 100 Thieves right now.
Mhm.
This company is in an incredibly exciting spot. We're experiencing some massive growth right now, and uh I mean, I'll just say like our recruiting team is like A1, like they are amazing. They've brought in some of the best talent like I've ever met in my entire career. And we're not only focused on bringing in people from esports that are the best at what they do, but we're also bringing in people from like cinema, like movies and TV and film, as well as people from lifestyle, fashion. Like we've got some really heavy hitters here that are like they've kind of stepped away from the limelight in their like own industries to like work towards the shared goal of making 100 Thieves like the esports organization that does premier lifestyle, premier esports, premier partnerships, premier brand, all of that. And I don't think there's a single person that I work with that isn't wholeheartedly interested in doing those things. And then beyond that, just organizationally, after our round of funding, like we are growing as a team, we are growing as far as like what we're like making new forays into. And so there's just a lot of opportunity for growth within the company that I would love to take advantage of. Like I'm not trying to see my way out of 100 Thieves. If I could continue like helping this organization achieve their goals, and that would be totally in line, I think, with what I'm trying to achieve in my career.
Yeah, you know, esports is an industry I feel like that runs off of storylines more than anything else. I mean, I come from a fighting game space, and that's literally what every community in the fighting game space talks about is that one match from 12 years ago on that one obscure stream that we're going to highlight because you got your ass beat. We take it and then we just like dump everything into it and we blow it up. And I can only imagine if it's going down like that in fighting games, then the rest of the esports space, of course, is certainly sharing that same sort of ideology. And wow, it's just amazing to see somebody like yourself curating it. And I have to ask, you've been in this a while, you've been going ham right now with pretty much everything you've done, but here we are with the 100 Thieves. What would you say? And, feel free to take a moment because this could be a
Mhm.
loaded question, but what would you say like your crowning achievement is so far? It doesn't have to necessarily be like a career thing or like, I got that one really fat paycheck or that one really
Mhm.
crazy, like, what would you say, like something that really spoke to where you were like, I could hang that up over the fireplace?
Yeah. Man, I'm honestly like, ooh, I'm so proud of all of the work that I've done so far.
Mhm.
Because this space is not like really hospitable for people to work
Mhm.
in. Like it doesn't matter like what race, creed you are, like it's not easy to be here. Just
Mhm.
like it's hard to stay in the startup space for a lot of different reasons.
Mhm.
But what I've done so far, very proud of, and I think it's all some more things that I'd like to build on. Um, I think what I'm most proud of, beyond manifesting my position with 100 Thieves, this has definitely been a goal of mine, that I've been striving to. And so to be in this position, I'm very honored and grateful. But right before I started working with 100 Thieves, I was working closely with the HBCU Esports League, which is
Mhm.
run by Community, CX Community. And they're really doing the damn thing. So not only do they have an HBCU esports league, so it's made up of historically Black colleges and universities, and students that go to those colleges and universities competing against each other for money. Um, it's comprised of that, but it's also a nonprofit, and so they go to all of these HBCUs and create esports labs for these colleges. And so I'm very proud to have supported them in the HBCU Esports League. And this is, I think we're in our third year of the HBCU
Wow.
Esports League now.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan, Chris, the shout out to them. They are really, really, really doing the damn thing, and they care a lot, as they should. We need somebody to care in this space. But yeah, third year, right? Yeah, 2020. Oh, we're going into our second year, I think. But
Still, congratulations.
thank you. Um, but yeah, I went through the kind of like very foundational stages, supporting them as they got their foundational partners on with Verizon, working with Discover, hosting the league exclusively on Twitch, like all huge moves, for a Black owned organization that supports Black students almost, as their main goal.
Mhm.
Uh, and so, yeah, in my work with them, I've done consulting. I've worked, in them in a partner capacity. I've done, bits of press. I've done copy for them, helped them with the website, talent, creating kind of like a Discord hub for their students to work with the TAs and all of that kind of stuff. Very just multifaceted in any kind of hat that I can put on for them. I've been glad to. And in the time that I was working with them, we launched the first HBCU Esports League Pro-Am, where we invited a bunch of different stars to join the students and play alongside them. So we had NFL players, NBA players. We had creators from the esports industry, like the Black Hokage, Aaron Ashley Simon, a lot of yeah, just very notable creators as well as notable lifestyle, as well as HBCU alums, just coming to support and play with the students that are giving their time to pursue their passions. I'm really proud of that. And you asked me about kind of like what my goals are for the future. I really enjoy mentoring students. We have a crop of interns at 100 Thieves right now, that I just adore. Like they're a little wild, I love Gen Z, but y'all a little wild sometimes.
Yes, they are.
Like what is brand safe?
Y-
We'll have to teach you about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think working with the HBCU Esports League really fulfilled that kind of part of me. And yeah, creating mentorship programs, working with individuals, and just holding the door open where I can for the people that I think can really improve this industry is definitely in my future.
I can tell. It seems like you just are really big on just planting seeds. And you know what's funny is that sometimes people in esports will plant a seed and they'll just throw money at it and they'll say, "Hey, well, go handle it. There's the money. There's the funding. I'm about to go do this other thing over here, and then that's going to branch off. And then by then they're completely spaced on this thing that they've built. But it seems like it's not enough for you to also obviously, in building anything, you have to get the funding, but you're also, curating it as it's growing too, which is just something that we need more of in the esports space. There's just so many people who are starting projects and then in a year or two, what the hell happened to them? Regardless if they were for something good or if it was just a traditional competitive play, you hear about it, it makes dot esports and then it just disappears. But in your case though, it seems like, yeah, I am, building things HBCU esports and also, helping the gamers of tomorrow be a little bit more brand safe. We'll use that terminology. And I just, a salute to you for that because that is huge right now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think some people do enter the industry, I think, for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of like full clout chasers, for lack of a better term, people
Yep.
that just are chasing either the money or the popularity. The come up looks different for different people, and I think that my come up is helping others find their come up.
Yo, I love that. I love every bit of it. Yo, and Jasmine, I'm gonna call it there. Yo, big shout out to you. Big thank you to you to come out and do this. I know when I had originally asked you, you were like, I got like a billion things going on. I'm way more important than you, but maybe I'm kidding. You didn't say that, but you were
Yeah.
like, yo, I got a lot of things going on, but you know what? This seems like it's for a good cause. So I'll try to squeeze it in. So big thank you for pulling up on us today.
Oh, heck yeah. Big fan of Shacknews, honestly. Like I didn't want to just throw my hand out, but yeah, I love you guys. You guys do great reporting, good storytelling over here. So yeah, if you guys haven't,
Thank
go
you.
ahead and follow Shacknews. Hit that follow button.
This is Brian. She's doing your job. She's doing your job.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're very happy to have had you on the show. Thank you so much again for being with us. Love to have you back again, in the future to keep talking esports, keep talking your future with 100 Thieves. Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to ask before you leave if 100 Thieves could expand into any other type of game, or what would you like them to expand into?
Um,
Say
okay.
Pokemon Sapphire. It's okay.
Competitive Pokemon Sapphire.
Okay, that's funny. Honestly, we should think about doing that though. Competitive Pokemon Sapphire.
Competitive Pokemon is, I mean, it's hot.
It is. It's getting hotter. No, for I think 100 Thieves. Right when I started. So I've been at 100 Thieves for just about 8 months now. Very serendipitous as well timeline here. My favorite FPS game is Apex Legends. Like
Awesome.
I love BRs like battle royales. I
Mhm.
think like the immersive nature of them, like
Mhm.
how is like there's so many like little like buildings and stuff, but like eventually you're all like I don't know, something about it is like the immersiveness of it I really like. And Apex Legends does a good job not just with the game, but also with the storytelling that they do. So from a marketing perspective, I just like chef's kiss. Great job, Apex Legends. And yeah, when I first signed with 100 Thieves, we were chatting about like fielding our first roster for Apex, and that was just like music to my ears. I like if there was any game that I could suggest that like my favorite esports team get into, it would be Apex Legends, and luck would have it that happened like about I think 2 months right after I started. But I think yeah, moving forward, there's definitely room. I think maybe like Halo, Rocket League, and that's just speculation. But
Yeah.
I think the Rocket League, what was it like finals? Is that what it was? That was like held this
RLCS.
past.
Yes.
Yeah, that was held this past weekend.
Yep.
That was electric. The footage that came out of there, like people were lit in that stadium. So I would like to see 100 Thieves a part of that, and we can bring some of our fandom to that as well.
That would be great. Yeah, thank you so much for your answer. I really like to hear that. We're big fans of Rocket League here as well. It's a great game. Yeah, thank you so much, Jasmine. It's been an honor having you on the show. Yeah, thank you again, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
All right, bye bye now. And you can go ahead and all right. Yep, there we go. She is out. Thank you again to Jasmine. That was just fantastic. Rodney, you did an excellent job, as always, bringing the best questions to our guests and, yeah, really getting to the core of their esports, experience and lifestyle and everything. Yeah, that was great.
What can I say, man? We like to talk here on Shacknews. You know that, Brian.
We absolutely do. So yeah, let's get into the rest of the show. Yeah, again, make sure you go and follow Jasmine Kitterman at Kit Kingdom over on Twitter. Make sure you go and follow 100 Thieves and all that stuff. Yeah, thank you again for the excellent interview. But we got to get into the rest of the esports show because there's some news going on. I mean, a lot has happened, and yeah, we got to get into it. So let's do that. First up, this story out of Overwatch. I mean, there's not really good things happening in Overwatch, right? Like, and
Never.
this is just another example of the sign of Overwatch declining. A San Francisco Shock player has announced retirement due to the lack of passion for the game. Yeah, Matthew DeLisi, super from the San Francisco Shock, has called it quits. So maybe moving on to something else. We'll see. I didn't read the entire. I didn't get a chance to read his entire, resignation letter there. But what's your take on this, Rodney?
When we talk about, even not just with the interview we just did, but we always talk about the importance of making sure that the next generation of player has a great time, in esports, and they can come through and be who they want. I don't think sometimes we, and maybe not so much as you and I, but the community shines enough light on letting kids know that, you know what, play as much as you like. And then if you feel like you need to stop, just stop. And I think at 22, I believe he's 22 years of age. I mean, he's younger than my younger siblings. Like, he's still a kid at this point, barely able to drink, just still figuring himself out in the real world. Who knows? We've done a lot of soul searching. I tell you, before I got to esports, I was, doing, and I'm still doing these things, but to much, larger extents. I was, very heavily into the Pokemon competitive scene and then collecting sneakers. And then I found my way over into esports and music. So, your interests and hobbies are going to change. And hopefully one day somebody as talented as himself will find his way back around. If not, maybe in the competitive seat, but maybe in the seat of mentoring. That's so big, not just being a mentor, making sure the right people are mentoring as well, like this young man here, or maybe, coaching, maybe even from like a super background standpoint and like investing or maybe starting his own team. I'd love to see him come back, but I also know that whatever it is that his heart is telling him, I support it 100%.
No, absolutely. And yeah, well said about, people being okay with calling it when they feel like their time is up, when they feel like they're not getting what they put back into the game, right? Like if you're not getting out of it what you're putting into it, then yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't find something that makes you happy. Find something that is going to yeah, provide some fun, provide, more stable means of income if that's what it is. Obviously Overwatch League is not looking like it's going to be the most stable way to make a living going on. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens with Overwatch 2. But yeah, it's a shame for San Francisco Shock. It's a shame for Overwatch. But like you were saying, I think it's a good thing for Matthew himself, and yeah, hopefully he'll be able to move on to something better.
I agree. Whatever better is for him, follow your heart and jump in on it.
I was hoping Chris would see that link I put in the Discord there of Matthew's cosplay of Tifa Lockhart. I mean, this person, the cosplay king of Overwatch, apparently, has his own Tifa Lockhart cosplay. So great. I mean, this guy is obviously, one of the true OGs if he's gonna do the full on Tifa Lockhart cosplay. It's so special. We got to get it up on the stream. We just have to.
Yes, sir.
I'm
Let's go
working
ahead and
on
take a
it.
gander at
Link
that.
is not loading.
That's okay. It's
Damn
okay.
it.
Well, either way, he's obviously going to be missed. Yeah, this is going to be a huge loss for the San Francisco Shock for sure. But yeah, is San Francisco Shock even going to be a thing moving on? Like we don't really know. It's hard to say. I don't see Overwatch becoming the biggest thing. There it is, Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII. It's just beautiful.
Hey. Yeah, that is
Love it.
she is she's quite the woman, ain't she?
Yep. You know Tifa was your favorite.
That's right. That's right. There she is. Yeah, it's finally loaded on mine too. I will say this though, that is a banging ass cosplay. I mean,
it's good. It's accurate.
It's very accurate. I mean, the furthest my cosplay abilities goes is literally like Sauce Talk McDonald's hat, and then like conventions, I'll put the Ash Ketchum hat on. I'm like, look, I'm a Black Ash, you know, Black Ash Ketchum. I'm about to catch them all, man. Pokemon. You know, it doesn't hit the same as cool Tifa though.
Not at all, dude. Doesn't hit the same at all.
No.
Yeah, so like I was saying, sad to hear Matthew's retirement, but you were absolutely right. When it's time to call it quits, it's just time to call it quits.
It's true. Very, very true.
Let's move on to the next topic, though. We got more to talk about, and we got to get into the Smash stuff. I mean, Overwatch is, it's fine and dandy, and we love talking about it, obviously.
Of course.
But let's get into the Smash Bros. Because HBox is also making big moves. HBox is always making moves, right? I mean, is there any? He might be the hardest working player in professional Smash as far as the hard work he puts in outside the tournaments. Yeah, so HBox has become the official community ambassador for Coinbase, and this is something that I'm not surprised about. Like they already partnered with HBox before with the Coinbox, sponsoring his tournaments and making sure that he has a minimum $2,000 prize pool for each of his box tourneys in every week or every single time he does it in 2022, basically throughout the rest of the year.
Right.
We reported on that earlier, so yeah, it's not super surprising to see this. And I know HBox is all about that crypto and everything, so it's just another kind of predictable move, but also maybe just one that makes things just a little more legit for Hungrybox going forward, being the official ambassador for the company.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Krabs.
So Hungrybox is now the official shill for crypto in esports.
Yes, apparently.
Does this mean that Hungrybox is the Matt Damon of esports?
You know what? Yes, it absolutely does. I don't know how you like them apples, but he is the Matt Damon of esports.
This is you hit the nail on the head. It's a very Hungrybox type of play, but I also think too, and this could just maybe be again the esports and all of us. We have to obviously be forward thinking because this could literally all be gone tomorrow. I think for somebody like Hungrybox to be in charge of it, or not in charge, but the ambassador of a company like Coinbase, after already building such a strong relationship with them through the scope of his tournaments, I think this is really good for the community. Now, hear me out. I know that, the community has a very fixated opinion on crypto and the metaverse. I get it, and I respect everybody's opinion on it. But for somebody as outspoken as HBox has been about company support from a certain company whose mascot is a wonderful little man in overalls and mustache, I think this could be really good for him. I mean, people already kind of lean into HBox for doing online things, and when they need a commentator, they know that he has the means to get there himself. He can do a lot of things. But I think, supporting tournaments from a back end financially is something that we haven't seen from him yet. Not because he can't do it, that he doesn't want to do it, but because maybe he just didn't quite have the corporate means to do it. And with something like Coinbase, $2,000 per tournament for him online is fucking unheard of. If he can do that online, I can only imagine what he can do for events in person.
Yeah, I mean, that's big money, obviously. Like $2,000 for every single event. Yeah, I would like to see what HBox is, he does say like he's trying to use this platform in order to create more avenues for the Smash scene, players, casters, tournament organizers, all that kind of thing, alongside Team Liquid. So yeah, I mean, if this could turn into some kind of HBox Coinbase Invitational or whatever,
Mhm.
or just I'm wondering what he means about the more avenues for players, casters, and TO support, because other than creating tournaments, how else do you help all of those people, right?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. I guess if I just had to like give some sort, I can't even say educated guess. If I just had to give a guess, maybe uh starting some sort of program or something to help, looking at it from the perspective of myself as a commentator, to help commentators get more funding, or maybe
Hmm.
even create better positions. So one thing, just looking into the world of commentary and Smash specifically is, a lot of commentators feel like they don't want to be commentators, but they have to because of the lack of positions there are in broadcast talent in Smash. Like in other esports, even in fighting games, like you'll catch James Chen and Ultra David on commentary, and then they'll throw it over to the desk where Sajam is doing his breakdown and his
Yeah,
analysis. Casey Steve gives really good interviews, but in
yeah.
Smash we just don't have that. And I
No,
would
you
imagine
have your commentator doing all three things basically.
all three things, which is very,
Yeah,
very tough to do, to be an analytical, fun, and engaging commentator all
yeah.
in
To do
one.
your color commentary or analysis, and then you bring people on for interviews, obviously.
Yep. Yep. See, and you get it. And it's
Yeah,
weird, but Smash needs that. And maybe he can help in that avenue. Or from a tournament standpoint, maybe doing more pre-tournaments. With Frostbite, there used to be a pre-Frostbite weekly, but there's no Frostbite anymore.
uh-huh.
There used to be like a pre-Big House. I don't know if they're gonna do that. So maybe again, just hypothetically, Genesis, maybe he could help fund a pre-Genesis weekly, like the weekend before or something, just to get
Yeah.
everybody in the mode. Or, and this is my last one, I'd like to see like more offline tournaments also do an online equivalent too. Like I think it's so cool that events like Genesis and Pound come back, but with Hungrybox being the person that he is in the online, competitive format, whatever world, I mean, a Genesis and then a Genesis online, just an online bracket specifically for people who can't make it but still want to compete. I think that would be fucking sick, man. But again, all Doctor Strange multiverse
Uh-huh.
hypotheticals here.
One thing I think would also be kind of unique and helpful. He does mention alongside general education with HBox, putting together these online tournaments, on like almost a weekly basis, just doing them over and over. There's he throws a box pretty much constantly,
Mhm.
and he's going to have this $2,000 prize pool guaranteed every single time he does one in this year, which is obviously going to attract more online attention, more players, obviously for his play. I mean, he has 500 people sign up for these things. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Um, I feel like there could be an avenue for education for people. Like, so say there are the top 1% of all these people who are signing up. Like, you'll find these people who are just winning over and over. Like, so say you find yourself in a position where you're winning a lot online, making kind of a name for yourself, but you don't know where to go next from this level.
Mhm.
You don't know how to take that to basically say basically how to become the next Spargo. How to go from being an online warrior to being a discovered player who has the utilities and resources for coaching or advice. I feel like he could provide some kind of avenue for that kind of education.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I love, Medify. I think, for what it is and what it stands for,
Yeah.
it's really good that it exists. But then we also have stuff, we had Bam on, a few months ago. He does the Smash University thing with Charles. I mean, I would love to see something like that get funded. Not to say that they're in it for the money. I mean, they have very great jobs in the industry,
Hmm.
but I think just to have a one-stop shop Walmart hub, and then to see somebody like HBox back it, who was all about the community, from start to finish, could be cool too. So yeah, I'd love to see that. Like educational, man. What we got to teach these next players what it is, or what it means, obviously, to be a competitive player in the community, and not just being good at the game, but also being an upstanding individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't come into this community being toxic and weird. You know what I'm saying? Be a regular ass human being.
We could fund, deodorant and shower giveaways at all the tournaments.
Gotta keep it on deck, man. Gotta keep
Got
it.
to. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that HBox could use his new found platform as ambassador to help the Smash community, but we'll see, exactly what that entails and what he plans to do with it in the future. Let's move on, though, to our more exciting Smash news, maybe the most electrifying pop-off in Smash history. I mean, this pop-off was so big, it gets an article or a segment all its own. Like we're saving Smash Story 2 just for this. Take it, Rodney. Set the scene. What happened? How did this historic pop off come to be?
So we've been in the gaming space for I don't know how many years at this point, and we have seen pop offs of big and small. I was at Civil War, caught the in-person perspective of ESAM's pop-off, and it was very electrifying. I just remember like looking at him and just saluting, like, I get it, man. Like, this is some serious shit. And in ESAM's defense, the pop-off was well-deserved. He played Samus back in the day. That just was not a highly looked-upon character. So, well-deserved pop-off. But wow, this pop-off...
I mean, look at him. My man's just running around the entire building. He's doing laps.
So this pop-off actually came from an event obviously overseas called Wanted, where they do not only just Smash, but they do DragonBall FighterZ.
Yeah.
Well, and the gentleman, Yasha, is the most prolific or one of the most prolific European DragonBall FighterZ players, to date. And, had a very, very close match, was very, very excited, obviously, as you can tell. And this pop-off, I linked it in the thing too. It reminds me of Carlton had a pop-off in the Fresh Prince where he just kind of like ran around the whole set. And I was like, dude, if you're not popping off like this at this point, you need to save
Carlton.
Yeah, ESAM's pop off was like the template, like for a couple years. But if you ain't popping off like this, stay home, all right?
That is absolutely the Carlton. I love it.
This dude is like Superman changing too. Like he's changing his clothes as he's running around.
No, this is great. Yeah, Yasha was just. I mean, how could you not be happy about winning, right? I mean, if you're gonna become the champion of something, then you deserve to pop off however you want. So you take your championship status and you pop off. You run around the entire building. You do your laps.
That's right. That's right. I've not quite had a crowning achievement in my life that would warrant a pop off like this yet. I would imagine it would be some form of like graduating college, getting married, getting first and wanted overseas. Like it's not quite in that hemisphere yet. But when I get it, though, I'm gonna make sure to record it so that way we can talk about it at Shacknews.
I'm sure it might happen at Rodfest 2K22. We'll see though.
We'll see how it wraps up, man. It's a long bill. I got Blake performing twice. He's performing as Charlie Bagaton is a character that he made up on our Pokemon card show. He's an Irish Pokemon card collector who only collects 10s. He doesn't even collect the cards. And then I also have him doing his music as well too. So it's a stacked lineup, Brian. But I might be able to squeeze you in if you want to get in.
I mean, we'll see. I could probably get in there if there's going to be a pop off like that. Then we'll see. I mean, we got the underground tournaments going. We're going to have that underground Street Fighter tournament. Don't tell Capcom.
We will not.
Yeah, don't
sponsored by Coinbase too.
That's right. All right, let's move on. Congratulations again to Yasha. Thank you so much for the electrifying pop off. Let's move on to some sadder tales from esports this weekend. TSM not looking so good in the LCS. Failed to make playoffs for the first time in franchise history. Playoffs?
We talking about playoffs?
Yeah,
playoffs?
They're not talking about playoffs.
They're not.
No, not anymore. What do you think about this, Rod? TSM is like they're a staple, aren't they? I mean, this is the team you would expect to make it. I mean, it is the first time in their history. 7 championship titles. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Can we be honest? I feel like we may have sort of seen this coming, though. I mean, so in all fairness, it takes a lot to rebuild. And sometimes the rebuilding process, everybody wants it to be on their own time, during that off season or where, you aren't really needed, whatever. But sometimes you're just rebuilding as you go. And that's, kind of the fucked up part about this. I think obviously TSM, one of the most historic esports teams in history, I think they were kind of long overdue for a spanking. Just let the world know, like, you know what? We're not above a spanking with cause. We are rebuilding. We got some younger players, a bit of a new team. And I think, look, after 18 splits and seven championship titles, I think that they deserve maybe an early ticket home, recuperate, what I'm saying, get everything back in line for the next season.
Okay, yeah, an early trip to Disneyland, hit the golf course,
That's right.
recover, rejuvenate, all that good stuff. Yeah, I feel like maybe we're getting to the point where League and LCS is so established that we can start seeing these upset stories, right?
Mhm.
Where previously it just didn't happen because there were fewer teams or just so many more dominant teams that had consistent victories, like TSM winning 7 championships. Maybe we're getting to the point where we're going to start to see more upsets like this. We're going to start to see some newer teams come out of the woodwork and start shaking things up.
I think so. I think, even with sports, I know we watch, a healthy amount of sports. And when I'm a big Lakers fan, I'm a little whatever on LeBron, but, I'm a Lakers fan. And, we've just seen the rise and fall of many dynasties. The 90s where the Bulls were in charge, the Lakers, then the Pistons whooped the Lakers' ass, then the Spurs and the Kings were really tough for the Lakers as well. And then, the Heat, those few years that, LeBron and D Wade and all those guys were together. So, we see teams, get built up, and then we see teams fall. And I think, if nothing else, this is just a good sign of growth in esports, that at least this genre, this team, this game has been around long enough to see teams go clear to the top, falter a little bit, and then start the rebuild process. So I think this is good.
Absolutely. Yeah, we could just start seeing the creation of esports dynasties and then track their decline. Yeah, so keep your hopes up, TSM. Like you were saying in your tweet, there's always summer. The year is not over. There's still lots of League of Legends to play. There's going to be tons and tons of games of it to talk about. So I'm sure TSM will find some more success later on. But let's talk about a team that did some winning, though. We hinted at this a little earlier because Jasmine was just such a great guest. She was doing my job for me, telling you all to follow and make sure you're sticking around here. And by the way, let's talk about that first, actually, because we didn't even put a spot in the agenda for the break-in, so I'm just going to make the break right here. Let's make sure you are following and subbed and all that good stuff to Shacknews Twitch. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you do all that good stuff. And if you really want to support us, yes, please go ahead and throw us a subscription. Hit that subscribe, fill in your information, and you would help us out so much by showing your love for Shacknews, how much you want to see us keep bringing you these excellent shows day after day, week after week. I mean, we're bringing you a ton of exclusive content and new content too. If you have an Amazon Prime account, it doesn't even have to cost you $5. It could be like basically free. With your Amazon Prime account, you get the Prime Gaming. If you link your Amazon Prime and Twitch subscription together, you'll get a Prime Gaming sub. That's a free sub for you to use every single month at your discretion. And you could discreet yourself a little subs our way. We love those. We'll take those Bezos bucks. Thank you so much to everyone who is supporting the channel. We love to see everybody in chat doing it for Shacknews. If you can't watch all of this excellent content live, though, like if you missed the interview with Jasmine Kitterman, I mean, all these people showing up late in chat, you missed another excellent interview with 100 Thieves. I mean, we have people from one of the top esports organizations themselves on our show. Can you believe it? Thank you, Rod, again for that excellent interview. And thank you to Jasmine for being here. If you missed that one, yep, EE railroaded it again, just making sure, he had something more important going on. But you know what? We have important stuff going on, like I was saying, with like our interviews. Make sure you head over to Shacknews on YouTube so you can see that interview after it's exported over there. We'll be doing that pretty shortly after the show. You can catch all of our other interviews as well over on Shacknews Games on YouTube. or that's right, crabs, or Gamer Hub videos also on YouTube. Shacknews Games and Gamer Hub videos, your two channels to find exclusive Shacknews content, thousands of hours of exclusive interviews and reviews and previews, features, just all kinds of great stuff, and our Wide World of Esports interviews. That's what you want to go over there and find. If you like it, make sure you're talking about it over on your social media channels, or your social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You can find us over there. We are getting engaged with all of our fans over on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Only in states that allow polygamy, though.
I mean,
all right.
You can get involved with Shacknews Twitter. It's okay. You don't got to tell anybody.
You just said you were getting engaged to all of the fans.
Well, we are getting engaged. We're getting engaged with all of our fans. That's engagement is up, Chris. Don't you know? Denny Von Doom is doing such a great job making sure our engagement is through the roof. So make sure you go over to @Shacknews on Twitter, @Shacknews on Facebook, Shacknews Games on Instagram. Is it? I forget the Instagram. Shacknews Media.
Shacknews Media.
It's always that one always trips me up. Shacknews Media on Instagram. Why can't we? Whoever's camping on that Shacknews on Instagram.
The other account is for Greg's Boudoir
off of it. I'll talk to Greg. Mm-hmm. But yeah, head over there. Give Denny Von Doom a shout out. Make sure you tell him how great of a job he's doing, and give us a follow. But also check out our social media platform. I'm talking about Shack Pets, the newest and greatest way to get involved and engaged with Shacknews. You can upload pictures of your pets. You can battle for the ultimate battle, or you can get involved with the ultimate battle for cuteness. You can check out the pet feed, scroll through thousands of pictures of cute pets, and as I was saying, challenge them with your own pet pictures if you want to. You can get tons of Shack points to win Shacknews for the day, the week, the month, the year, all that good stuff. We'll be talking about that a little bit later, but make sure you go and do it. It's absolutely free on the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. You can also head over to shacknews.com. I mean, that's our website. That's the reason why we're here. We've been bringing you the latest and greatest in technology news, gaming and technology news for over 25 years. You can check out, we got lots of great reviews coming out, lots of great features, lots of great guides. I mean, if you need to know how to do stuff in Elden Ring or anything, we got you covered right over there on shacknews.com. And if you want to get a little more involved with the support, you could even sub to Shacknews Mercury, our subscription service, which is super affordable, less than a cup of coffee a day, less than a cup of coffee at any time, at $1 a month. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. So head over to shacknews.com, get involved with Mercury, gets you lots of cool perks, and shows everyone how much you love to do it for Shacknews. But let's move on. Let's get into the end of the show. And yes, I did spoil it a little bit. We talked about it with Jasmine for a tiny second as we mentioned Rocket League, because the Rocket League Championship Series Winter Major is over, and G2 Esports is the winner.
Yeah, this is just it's really cool to see. I mean, I think when it comes to the American teams, obviously we're really strong in some areas, and in some areas, we kind of falter a little bit. And the teams from Europe, in something like Rocket League are equally as strong. But it felt like, going back and looking at the footage, it felt like they almost had the ability to kind of reverse it on G2, but they just fell a little short. And that happens. That's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. Like, you stomach up all that energy, all that strength. Boom, I get the reset. Now it's like round two, my boy. And if you've ever watched the Stimulus games and playing against Blake, that's pretty much what it's like. It's like, all right, won the first one. All right, now what's the rules for the second one? And the rules are like, well, I'm just stronger than you. So, and G2 just happened to be the better team that day.
No, yeah, a bracket reset is always difficult to pull off. Team Queso obviously wanted it, but yeah, it's just a very difficult thing to do against a team especially against a team like G2 Esports, who has just had lots of success in Rocket League and is a really dominant team. Yeah, congratulations to them. You mentioned how they had to beat Team Secret, BDS, and EG. I mean, just plowing their way through just lots of top tier teams in order to win this Rocket League major. Yeah, I absolutely love Rocket League. I think it's one of the best esports, not only for people to get into, but just to watch in general because it's so fluid, so easy to follow. Keep track of what's going on. It's one of the greatest. It's definitely one of the greatest esports to bring new people into the esports realm, right? Like it's brought all of these people who before didn't really want to play a first person shooter, didn't really want to play a fighting game, didn't really want to play a MOBA. All of a sudden, you now have this sports game, but it's not really a sports game. It just is so perfect in hitting just the right notes for people who want to get into like a sports like video game, but don't want to play a sports video game.
Right. And for those people who have like fixated opinions on Rocket League too, I mean, obviously look at what G2 has done. I mean, this was not a very difficult bracket to follow. I mean, if you follow any other sort of traditional esports or even fighting games, there's
Yeah.
a lot of similarities to fighting games that I found out about. I was doing a show in Canada a couple years ago. And my buddy Brody, he was like, yo, like, you can actually like, perfect landing and, you can L cancel and stuff like that. And I said, wait a damn minute. I said, you can do that shit in Rocket League. He's like, yeah, man. Like, there's a lot of tech that goes into it, but I feel like
Lots of you can wave dash in Rocket League.
and you can wave dash too. And like he said, I feel like people look at the game, they get a very, kind of corny, traditional, sort of opinion on it. But there's a lot of tech that goes into this. And he said the practicing and the training regimen for players at this level is completely unheard of and just unmatched. So I was like, yo, you know what? You got a watcher out of me. Now, again, if you've ever watched the stimulus games, you know that you don't get a player out of me. I'm garbage. Okay. I'm absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure that's why I haven't been invited back. But in terms of watching, though, I mean, it's like top 2 spectator esport, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. Rocket League is easily top 2, maybe the best spectator esport right now, in current popularity. Yeah, it's just an absolute blast to watch, absolute blast to follow. Congratulations to G2 Esports again for winning. Yeah, uh, I never even heard of Team Queso before now, and like I feel like with a name like that, man, it would have been really great for them to win because I want one day to say Team Queso takes it home. So please, Team Queso, next time when you're in the majors, yes, take it home, get that bracket reset, and get that win because yes, I want to talk about how Team Queso was the grand finals winner. Yes, get that cheese.
Get that
Absolutely.
cheddar,
I mean, the jokes will just be so easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only imagine if they were on the desk. I didn't like listen to too much of the broadcast. I had it on mute while I was doing something else. But I'm like, if I know these commentaries as well as I think I do, they're probably making all sorts of cheese jokes.
No, it's all about G2 Esports, though. They're the ones who won. They're the ones who get to take home the trophy, the prize money, and the MVP spot of the tournament. Yeah, congratulations to everyone involved with the RLCS, and congrats on another successful winter major. I mean, things are just looking good for this game, looking good for the team behind it. I mean, it was a solid acquisition. I mean, I couldn't see or I couldn't fault Epic for snapping it up, right? Like this was an easy grab for them. Like I know that it cost them a pretty penny, but I feel like it was well worth it, don't you?
I think so. I think a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, like with Epic's purchase of Rocket League, do you feel like this is now their most popular like actual real esport compared to Fortnite?
I knew you were gonna say, yeah. You know what? Well, yeah,
absolutely, because it's an actual esport that people give a hot shit about.
Yeah, Fortnite is. And again, I don't want to dunk on Fortnite, but I have to because I just feel like it has not really established itself as an esport. It almost feels a little reminiscent of Smash in a sense of like this game can be played competitively, but the foundation in which it exists competitively is not the same components as something like a Rocket League or like a League of Legends, where like Rocket League is we train.
Yeah.
We don't care about celebrities playing this game. We don't care about it being in Avengers or any of that shit. We're here to win. and then we're here to.
Well, you can't even train though if you wanted to because they change the game every 6 hours.
Yeah, well, at least they got rid of building, so we
for
can
about
at least
6 hours.
All right, fair enough. I'm not gonna win today versus Krabs. He's right.
I'm sorry.
Real quick before we move on, I did want to touch on one story. I guess this shouldn't be our heartwarming story of the day. G2 winning the RLCS major is definitely our heartwarming story of the day, but it was brought to my attention by the man with the briefcase, and I can't ignore it. I mean, it is kind of big news for the Smash world. MKLeo's Twitter was hacked. You saw that, right, Rodney?
I was actually on calls all day today, and I actually missed it on Twitter. But I'm actually just gonna. Oh well, the tweet is gone now. Damn.
Yeah, so MKLeo's Twitter was hacked. Somebody hacked it and put up an ad for NFTs, basically. Which is, yeah, I mean, that's if anything says 2022, that's going to be it right there.
You could have hacked them and exposed his DMs, hacked them and did anything, but you hacked them and then did an NFT on an account that wasn't yours in hopes that somebody would probably buy it. And the first thing they're going to say is, well, I found out about this NFT through a hacked Twitter, so I'm not buying this. I mean, the same thing happened to, after Etika passed, somebody hacked his Twitter and Discord and invited a bunch of people in, and people were just in there like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we stopped doing this type of corny shit in like 2002. We don't do this. Like, stop. It's dumb.
I have a hypothetical question for you guys.
Go for it.
Say you're a person on the internet in whatever the year is we live in. It's hard to tell anymore. And someone hacks your account and they're going to put something there to defame your good name. Which would be worse, having them put a fake NFT ad or you having said something, bad language or, hate speech that's also was made up in the name of you being hacked?
Definitely the hate speech. I mean, NFTs, I feel like the opinion on them changes so often, like some days, like they're doing something good. Like I just read an article today on a website that we will not talk about, but they did a article about how NFTs are helping the situation over in Ukraine. They're donating money and stuff. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. And then, other days it's just like, like NFTs just came in and absorbed literally all this money and everybody's poor now. I'm like, damn. But something heinous and vulgar in my DMs, I would just, nobody. It's hard to recover from that. We've seen it firsthand. You can't recover from that. Oh no, what about you, Brian?
I mean, I feel like if someone were to post something fake that I said that was gross or whatever, most people would just probably believe that I said it anyways. No, because
I told them you said.
Oh, I'm kidding aside. I don't want to be involved with NFTs. That's for sure. I don't think my Twitter's not really a target though, right? Like I'm not a target for anybody. Nobody's trying to hack me, and if they did want to hack my account and steal it, you can take it.
You only have to worry about Twitter thoughts.
Exactly. No, it's just it sucks for MKLeo to get his Twitter account hacked, and it's just silly that it was used to try to hawk an NFT. Like, yeah, it's very, very peak 2022, right? Like, it just wraps up the description of this year in a nutshell for sure. But yeah, his Twitter is recovered. MKLeo's back on top of it and everything. So if you want to go tell him that he's the greatest in the world or whatever, I mean, you can go and do that. But he's not at Spargo now.
There you go.
All right. I think that's going to wrap up our esports talk of the day. That's going to do it for the esports segment. Wide World of Esports is dead. Long live Wide World of Esports. No, thank you so much, everybody. Before we get into sauce talk, though, I do want to give another special thanks to Jasmine Kitterman for showing up and having our interview with us today. Brand and marketing with 100 Thieves. She did an excellent job talking about her background in gaming, her background with 100 Thieves, possible future, that 100 Thieves could be taking and everything. So yeah, make sure you go check that out. Make sure you head over to YouTube and get the export of the interview if you missed it, because it was a good one.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. The let's get into some sauce talk, though. We got a couple sauce talk topics, and we can't end the show without a little bit of sauce talk. So first up is actually was shared on the Shack Chatty. It was shared in the Shack Slack. It's been shared on other places that I've seen it. People have been talking about this.
Yeah.
People are, I don't know if they're excited or if they're hyped or if they're just like,
this might technically be a war crime in Canada too.
It might be. Yeah, it's maple Pepsi syrup. Or, no, I'm sorry. That sounds wrong. That sounds like it's maple syrup that tastes like Pepsi. No, this is Pepsi with maple syrup in it. This is Pepsi maple syrup flavor. I'm just, in partnership with IHOP, I'm not down with this. I don't feel like you need to put maple syrup in your Pepsi. Rodney, what do you think?
Pepsi is a good soda, I guess. I don't mind it. It's never my go-to, but
Pepsi over Coke?
No, not Pepsi over Coke. I'm actually Dr. Pepper over all dark pops.
Got you.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper is some goddamn crack cocaine, and they know it. They got me in a chokehold. But I think Pepsi, being kind of like on the bottom tier of dark pop, they need stuff. I'm not saying that they need it because we need it, but them experimenting with flavors, if there's ever going to be one to do it, it should certainly be them. I've never been super big on Pepsi. Also, I stayed in Canada for quite some time too. I've had like real maple syrup, like as it's, should be done. And I'm like, yo, that's a lot of goddamn sugar. It's very, very sweet. And to put that into pop, that sounds like a very early trip to the emergency room. And I'm sure it's going to be very sweet. I'm sure it's going to taste good. I'm thinking of like those two different flavors slammed together on my taste buds. I'm like, this is just different, man. I don't know. What's your take on it?
I have questions.
I feel like if you drink this and you don't get diabetes, then there's probably some kind of crazy something going on with your metabolism, and you should be studied. What are your questions, Krabs?
Does this replace the corn syrup that the drink is made out of, or do they add maple syrup on top of the corn syrup?
I didn't even think of that.
I feel like it's got to be, like, in all seriousness, it's got to be maple syrup flavoring that they just add to the existing Pepsi mix, to the actual cola syrup. I'm sure it's just like artificial maple flavoring that they add to it. There's no way that they're gonna reformulate it so that the maple syrup is taking place of the corn syrup, because they already do the real sugar Pepsi. Do they still make real sugar Pepsi in cans?
They do.
I think so. Yeah,
they already do the real sugar Pepsi. They already do their regular high fructose Pepsi. Yeah, there's no way they're making a third line with actual maple syrup. But do you feel like that would be any better?
I guess it just comes down to what we consider.
If all of the sweetness came from maple syrup. It might not. It might not be that. I'm not saying it might not be that bad. It might not be that bad.
I'm trying to figure out the meeting in PR where they're like, we should also partner with IHOP for this because that's what's going to get someone to buy this can at the gas station. And I'm thinking, wasn't it like a year ago when everybody wanted IHOP closed because they changed their name to International House of Burgers? Like, I remember a shitstorm over that.
Sam, I think we're just, I feel like companies, they need to make these they feel like they need to make these partnerships to stay in the news cycle, to stay in the conversation. This is how the IHOP approaching Pepsi for this, right? I feel like Pepsi, I don't know if they're doing just fine, but they're better than IHOP.
Yeah, IHOP is, I already have kind of a fixed opinion on them. I think the quality of food has certainly gone down in the last so many years. And so to see them collab, I feel like they're a little late to the draw, but I'm not entirely upset. I just hate that it came in the form of something like this. Like, it almost feels like, so how they did like a Pepsi inspired pancake, like on paper, that sounds absolutely wild, but it's just that wild that people will show up and be like, give me the Pepsi pancake. Let me see what it's like. But something like a Pepsi Pop is almost doable enough where it feels like, I don't know. Like, are you expecting this thing to sell? Like, what is the...
It's already too sweet when you just have regular Pepsi. Like, what is this supposed to be?
it just feels weird. It feels really weird. Like, had they did something completely out of the box that you know is going to taste really weird, I'd be like, okay, this is going to get people in the door. But something grounded, like a syrup flavored thing with already condensed syrup in it, it's like, now I'm coming just for the branding of IHOP. I already know what syrup tastes like in a liquid form. You know what I'm saying?
I like where James Bueno is going, talking about how they need a red velvet flavor. Maybe they should just go all the way with it and make the whole
Oreo
thing. Just go full pancakes with butter and syrup flavor in the soda.
I'm with that.
I feel like this can could say Pepsi Miracle Grow, and I would have the exact same reaction to looking at this maple syrup thing. Like, this is not something I want, and I'm not going to buy this or put this to my lips. Sorry,
I feel like
Pepsi.
the can design leaves a little to be desired for sure.
Yeah, the can.
Yeah, it looks
feels,
like Pac-Man batched all over it.
Oh Jesus!
I'm
It
sorry.
has like a cool design.
Chris.
I like the cream colored can. That's appealing. It reminds me of the vanilla Pepsi they ran for a while.
Yeah, vanilla Pepsi was not too bad.
I have a hard time looking at food like this because I know, like, after watching a video or two on YouTube, that when you see food set up like this, it's probably not even real food, or like it's not even cooked, or like there's a piece of cardboard in between each pancake to make them look tall, and then the syrup.
Yeah, that syrup's
oil.
like Robitussin. They've heated up, and the pancakes are just cats they found on the highway. Like, it's never the real food.
Yeah, like just fucking pieces of roadkill, and they're like, yeah, I doctor it up. We got to do a fucking campaign with Pepsi. Let's do it.
Just hit it with the creme brulee torch a couple times. It'll look good.
There you go.
All right, let's move on from this. Go get your maple syrup Pepsi if you want to. I'm not trying it, but if you feel like you are brave enough to give this a shot,
if I see Bret Hart drink one of these on social media and I don't think the video is doctored, then I'll try it.
All right. The Hitman is the one who would get you to try maple syrup Pepsi.
Or any other comparable respected Canadian.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so if you're out there,
Celine Dion, Bryan Adams, any other Canadians, yeah. If I see them down in this,
I'm not down with Bryan Adams. I hate that guy.
We'll talk about this after the show.
All right. But yeah, if you are a reputable Canadian and you have the chance to try maple syrup cola, please do report back and let us know if it is truly an affront to everything you hold dear. Let's move on though. We're gonna move on to some KFC news. So everyone's getting involved with like these celebrity meals, right? You had your Travis Scott meal, rest in peace. You had your Sweetie meal. You had your BTS meal.
Rest in peace.
And then Burger King was doing like the real name. Yes, RM Squires, we are giving PepsiCo all of the free advertising today for Sauce Talk. But yeah, Burger King had the Nelly meal, by his real name and everything. But KFC's got to get into it, right? They got to get into the celebrity meal game, and now they got one with Jack Harlow and his favorites. Two
questions.
Yeah.
Who's Jack Harlow and what exactly is in this meal? Because I read this article 5 times and I still can't figure out what the meal is.
Yeah, the meal is supposed to be just like his favorite pieces of whatever, but I don't know
exactly what his favorite piece of chicken.
It's just 9 things he picked off the menu indiscriminately, and we're not going to bundle together.
Yeah, it just feels like, so at least with the Travis Scott stuff, you God, what was it? Can I have the Traffy Patty with the sicko sauce? Is that what people were saying? And, but when I think of something like this, first of all, it threw me off that it was Jack Harlow. Not to play.
So is Jack Harlow legit? Enlighten me, because I'm an old man who doesn't know things about young musicians.
Because this looks just like my old college roommate, Stinky Ricky, and if you told me, I would assume that was him.
He's I will say this, really good rapper, means well, I think, he works really well in Black culture, not to, jump down that rabbit hole, but he's very good guy. Invited to the cookout. But when I seen him, as the spokesperson of this, I just feel like KFC and Popeyes are in a really tough spot, because like you want to work with celebrities, but if they're Black, then it's like, look at Black people in fried chicken, and then it becomes a PR nightmare. But then if it's like, hey, I got this white dude, then it's just like, what do white dudes know about chicken? Like, bro, get a Black dude. So like it's an unwinnable battle, but I do think I do think that this is a good step in the right direction. I'm not exactly sure what Jack Harlow's schedule was like. Maybe he just had a shit ton of time on his hands and was like, "Hey, yo, KFC, man, like let's do a thing." I don't know exactly how this came about, but I'm kind of about it. I like a good piece of chicken. Surprise, surprise.
So who's next, right? We've had now that Jack Harlow has jumped on the bandwagon. Who do you want to see?
I think that's an excellent question.
The collab meal.
Is there a currently active performing entertainer where you saw that entertainer's name associated with a fast food dish and you're just like, regardless of what the meal was, you're like, I have to support this?
Yeah, I am a big Dua Lipa fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Dua Lipa meal, you're just all in, no matter what it is.
So we're going to Arby's and they've got the Dua Lipa. What exactly comes in that bag? They don't mean to put you on the spot here, but we got to know.
Damn it, Chris.
So, this show does not need to get banned on Twitch. The Dua Lipa meal is going to come with curly fries.
Hell yeah!
I love curly fries. It's definitely going to come with some sort of turnover. I love the turnovers there.
Oh yeah.
Arby's. It was funny. I actually don't even eat the sandwiches at Arby's. I don't think I've ever had one sandwich from there. I've always just gotten fries and turnovers. Oh wait, no, that's not true. I've also gotten the salads. There's a really good crispy chicken salad. So if she had to make a meal based off of me, I would get the crispy chicken salad, apple turnover, and then a big thing of curly fries, and maybe some Dua Lipa sauce too. Look, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Dua
you gotta
Lipa's
have that
fine
branded
as hell.
sauce.
I don't care what she does. I'm gonna buy it. All right, she's fine as fuck, and she sings very well. She has a song with Andrea Bocelli. I mean, who
he sounds Italian.
He's very Italian.
Okay.
He's a blind Italian opera singer. And when I was just like, okay, Dua Lipa, you got a fan. I'm right here.
If Megan Thee Stallion gets her own sauce at Popeyes, Dua Lipa should be allowed to get her own custom sauce at her place.
True. I'm with that.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I want to see someone take it the complete opposite direction. Like instead of these, like, new and popular performers with their meals, I want to see something like the Radiohead meal, where it's just something sad, like overcooked yet cold fillet of fish on a non-steamed, non-toasted bun.
Someone brings that guy a cold fish sandwich and he just starts bobbing his head like he does once he starts performing. Like, I'm sorry, blanking on his name now.
You get the fucking
Tom York.
high and dry meal.
Yeah.
The high and dry, the 2 jumps in a week. What's the lyrics? 2 jumps in a week. Damn, how the fuck does the song go? 2 jumps. Oh, I bet you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy, meal? You got to say the whole thing or you don't get it.
Yeah. That would be great.
I don't know where it would be, but I'm waiting on Killer Mike and LP to tell me where to go, and I'm sure they would be super aggressive about it.
That collab would be legit right there. Yeah, the Run the Jewels collaboration, like.
Oh yeah. Wait, how did Killer Mike? Not to switch subjects, but Killer Mike had that cool ass song with Outkast, all those years ago. Adidas. How did he not get an Adidas deal? Like he should have got one.
Did you listen to the lyrics on that one?
It was
a different time. It was safe. It was
the same way Korn didn't get the Adidas deal.
It was just he came along too early with the song.
The company doesn't want that. They don't want to be involved with that.
True. I never seen any ICP, people at my local circus. So it's true. Sometimes these people, they just don't know who to collab with.
They don't know who to collab with.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. We're not sure what Jack Harlow's Kentucky Fried favorites are going to be. It's just going to be.
It says he likes the
app.
Chicken sandwich. He likes French fries. He also likes the tenders, but he also likes the mac and cheese, but he also likes the biscuits. So as long as you order one of those 6 things, you can be the Jack Harlow Kentucky Fried favorite.
All right, sweet. And you too can feel like a superstar and eat like Jack Harlow. I'm sure he eats from KFC all the time.
Oh yeah, he does. With his $1 million budget, KFC is always on his radar.
I don't know. I mean, the tenders are not bad, right? Like, if someone gives me some KFC tenders, I'm not going to stick my nose up at it.
KFC has better size than Popeyes. I'll say that. I'm willing to die on this hill.
If you give me a lot of money, I'm not going to stop eating garbage food.
Yeah. I don't think anybody is. People are creatures of comfort, and, if they've been eating garbage their whole life, they're probably going to keep eating garbage.
It's true.
Garbage molded me into the whatever I am now.
into the fine, fantastic man you are now, into the upstanding technical director that
I think
you
you're
are.
gaslighting everybody now.
Okay. James Winter says KFC fries are crisp. I do actually like their seasoned fries. Those are pretty good.
They should be beaten or open-handed slapped in front of the country for getting rid of the tater logs, though.
Tater logs?
They didn't have tater logs at your KFC for 28 years before they switched to
What is
these
it?
tiny fries.
Is that what they were called, or is that just like a colloquial
I'm asking.
term for
I'm
it?
asking the chat now. Does anybody call these things anything other than tater logs? Is this a Southern thing? Did I just screw up?
I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
I think I've also heard them called tater wedges, but
Now potato wedges I have heard,
Yeah,
but
wedges
tater
is-
logs. I
okay,
have
maybe.
not
Sorry, the
heard.
swamp is getting loose in me here. I apologize.
Give some of them tater logs.
Now that you say it, it does kind of sound grosser than wedges, but
It
don't know.
does
Potato
sound
log
not
sounds
very
like-
appealing.
yeah, it sounds like
Yeah,
something that was
make way, I
extruded.
gotta take a mean potato log, man.
Yeah.
I gotta go. You know.
All right, we're
we're
getting too
off the
far
rails.
down into the show. Yeah, we're getting completely off the rails. In fact, I'm going to snap it right back, bring it over to the Shacknews Cortex Showdown, Shack Pet Showdown, Cortex Corner, however you want to say it, however you want to talk about it. First, I got to pull it up, though. I went off of a new agenda today. I don't have it up right now.
I got it up. I can always get it up.
I'm not even
Usually,
sure
if
who
I've got
won.
pills.
Oh, wait. I do know who won. A brand new winner. Paul Winged Hussar.
AKA Morgan.
News, a.k.a. Morgan Shaver, our very own Morgan Shaver, the newest editor over here at Shacknews. You might know her from previous work at like Prima Games and other outlets. I mean, she has done great work in the games journalist community, but she's doing even better work on Shack Pets because she is winning Shack News for the week with this win over 8 Mikey, 300,000
Clapped
points.
8 Mikey by 100K.
Yeah, just get out of here. 8 Mikey who? 8 Mikey, you need to
8 Mikey,
step
you better keep her pets' names out of your MFing mouth.
That's right. Make like Chris Rock and you keep all their names out of your mouth, 8 Mikey. No,
Congratulations to all participants.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody. Congratulations specifically to Morgan for winning for the week. Congrats to Mad Dog Delphi 97 winning the chatty with 11,000 points. You know you love him. Yep, that's
Love
right,
him.
Mobab. Mobab loves Mad Dog. I love Mad Dog. Rodney and Phil definitely love Mad Dog. Everybody loves to see him winning the chatty. He hasn't won Shack News overall, though, since the Shack Pets takeover, since the whole shakeup. But that doesn't mean he's still not the GOAT. Yes, Mad Dog is the GOAT and will forever be the GOAT for his incredible Shack News wins before the Shack Pets days. But Shack Pets is the way now. Shack Pets is the future. If you want to win Shack News, you got to make sure you go and check out Shack Pets. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. It's on the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. But yeah, lots of new names on this list this week as well. Cash and Mallory, Stu Schweitzer, Vance M. I don't even know who these people are. Like, Shack Pets will get you on this list. They have no points other than Shack Pets points. So yeah, this is definitely the way to go if you're trying to get on the Carnage Report and you're trying to get your name shouted on the shoutouts at the end of each Wide World of Electronic Sports. Then make sure you go and check out Shack Pets. Make sure you go and check out Shack News. Use all of this stuff. Do all the stuff. Check out Shack News Chatty. Check out the main website. Check out the articles. Check out Shack News Reader. Use Shack News Reader. It's actually really, really useful. You can like put all of your favorite YouTube channels in there. You can ingest every YouTube channel that you subscribe to, and you'll see their content in a more pleasing and easy to follow format. Or if you ingest, feeds from other websites, you'll see that content posted in an exact chronological order, not influenced by algorithms or anything like that, trying to make it so you see what they think you want to see. No, you see it all with Shack News Reader. But yeah, make sure you go check it all out. Do all the stuff at shacknews.com. Thank you, everyone, for watching episode 125 of Shacknews, Wide World of Electronic Sports. Make sure you get your tickets for Rodfest 2K22 featuring Coinbase coming sometime later this year. It's got to happen in 2K22, so it's got to be this year. But we're getting all kinds of sponsors. We're getting all kinds of acts lined up. We have all kinds of great stuff in the works for it. So hopefully we'll see you there. Yes, that's right, Mobab. Sponsors for Rodfest. It's not Capcom, though. Don't worry about it.
No, definitely.
No, but really, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I've been Bryan Lefler, joined by Rodney Conyers Jr., my co-host, co-producer, co-partner in crime. Thank you so much again for being here on another great episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's just exciting as always to do it, man. Whether we're doing a traditional episode or interviews or whatever, I look forward to doing this, man.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much to the phenomenal EE Phil Visu for not being here. Thanks, Phil, for just leaving us out in the cold. Hope you won your Fortnite. Thank you so much to Chris Krabs Gerard for your excellent technical direction, your amazing questions, and just all around pleasant demeanor.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and of course, I have to say thank you. Thank you again for Jasmine Kitterman for showing up and having an awesome interview with us. Very much appreciated. It was an honor talking to her about her work with 100 Thieves and in esports. Make sure you check out that interview on YouTube after the show, youtube.com/ShackNewsGames. It'll be there, but I won't because I'm getting out of here. See you later, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.
I don't really want